People say that word of mouth marketing is dead. I hear it all the time. It's slow, unpredictable, and impossible to scale. But I built a 7-figure business using nothing but word of mouth. I didn't run a single ad, $0 acquisition cost. It was just happy clients referring others. And while it's not easy and definitely not instant, when you build it right, it becomes the most powerful growth engine in your business. So in this video, I'll show you how I did it, what most people get wrong, and how to build a system that gets people talking for you. So the problem is most people don't understand word of mouth. It's not just hoping someone tells a friend. Most people think that it's just organic. It happens organically or that it's lucky. It's not. It's architected. And your business either naturally spreads. People naturally start telling each other about it. They tell their friends, they get their team members, or it naturally dies. Let me say that again. Your business either naturally spreads or it naturally dies. So I'm going to walk you through a couple things of how I engineered word of mouth to land not only my first 100 customers, but well beyond that, and an engine that will forever give me customers. So number one, be referable by design. Every part of your customer journey should whisper to tell a friend, right? So a couple examples of what we've done is when you sign up, we always mention, hey, this would be more fun with a friend. This would be better if a team utilized systems like these, right? So you have to understand why your customers are signing up. Now, if it's a very exclusive offer, maybe it's a little bit different, but 99% of the time, it will always work like that, right? Even if you run a roofing company, right? You want people to have good roofs. People talk about things that they like. So you always want to make sure that when they're going through their onboarding process, from the moment they sign up, that they should be known that it's an option, right? And number two is have emotional moments, memorable moments, shareable moments with your customers. This is so important. I see so many people, especially when they're starting out, think that, man, I don't want to do all this customer service. I don't want to talk to my clients all day long. Well, that's why they're not sharing your product, right? You want to make memorable emotional moments. I remember when I first started, I would do every single onboarding call. Every single one. And these were like an hour and a half long onboarding calls, but I would do every single one because it built a connection, right? It built a memorable moment. You'd have little inside jokes. You'd say little quips, and you have to be good with people, but it creates that emotion, right? And people share based on their emotion. And number two, you have to create a signature transformation. What are the before after moments, right? You see it so much in the gym industry or the fitness industry that, people were overweight and now they're fit and this is how I did it. Why not for every business, right? I see too many people not focusing on the end result with their customer. They're just focusing on getting the client, getting money. Well, that's why they're not sharing. So people don't share great service. They share stories. They share how it transformed their lives, what happened in the process that brought them from A to B. So you really have to understand that. People will share stories. And like I said, what's the before and after? Where were they? And what happened after they signed up or used your service or product? It's so important that you get them a story that they can tell. So example, when people signed up for one of my old companies, they started out not being tech savvy, not having, an idea of where to go. They had a lot of fall off, a lot of follow-ups that were getting misplaced. So we helped build a system. That was our service. We built them a system to help automate certain processes. But if I just stopped and said, hey, I'm going to build you the system, it's going to be done, it's going to be good, well, they're not going to have a story. You need to get them an end result. That is the absolute key for word of mouth. And number three is you have to layer in retentional triggers. Now, this is very important. You have to build real relationships. Don't be afraid to reach out to them. Send them a DM. I personally use Loom. I love Loom because my little camera's on the bottom. I can walk them through. So if anybody asks support questions, instead of just typing out a long email that nobody's going to read, send them over a Loom video. It takes you 2 minutes. It doesn't take too much time out of the day. I've talked to founders that are like, oh, it takes too much time. I don't want to do that. Well, that's why you're not building relationships and why you have to keep dumping money into ads to get new customers. So also a huge power is handwritten notes. For my first 10 customers that signed up, I sent them a personalized blanket. So I just got a blanket off Amazon. It was like $10. I had it engraved with my logo, and I handwrit a thank you note and sent it out to them. And you'd be so surprised how far that goes. And it cost me like $20. I think $20 including shipping per, right? And hopefully if you're selling a product, you're making more than $20. But they felt so special. I still remember the calls I would get from the people. Man, I appreciate you thanking me. This is so good. And that gives them a story, right? Imagine if you signed up for a service and they sent you a handwritten thank you card. Would that make you more excited or less excited about their business? More excited, right? Everyone would be. It's personable. It's building a relationship. And number 4 is you have to build incentives. But you can't be salesy. You have to build incentives without begging people, right? Because as soon as you beg people or you say, man, you really should refer your friend, well, that automatically is a turnoff, right? You sound desperate. And nobody really wants a desperate, because the first thing that goes through their head, I guarantee you, is when you say, oh, I need you to refer that friend over. You should refer that friend over. Why do you need more customers? Is your business going down? Is something wrong that I should be aware of? It builds this fear. So you have to be paying attention. You can't be pushy with it. So don't be sleazy. Don't send out some sleazy referral link about, all this stuff. Suitable nudges. That's it. Little tiny nudges here and there, whether it's on a training call, maybe it's like, I do this all the time where it's kind of a half joke. Where, we have a great experience. I get off a call with a client. It's like, man, this would be fun with a friend, wouldn't it? So just little nudges. It's not salesy. It's not sleazy. And what I always like saying too is you're exactly the kind of client we love. Do you know anybody else like that or any of your friends like that? So you give them a compliment and then you ask the question, right? So it's very key. And number 5 is you have to seed shareable assets, right? So this is very key. Let me say that again, shareable assets. So what are the frameworks? What are the visuals? What can people show, right? Like we'll go back to the roofing example. If you build a really awesome roof, people are going to see it. And then they're going to ask who built that roof, and you get a referral. And that all happens behind the scene, but it works the same thing with e-com. It works the same thing with software. It works the same in every single business if you're aware of it. You have to be willing to have shareable assets. So think back through, take a second after you watch this video and think through, what would somebody share to another person about my business? Ask yourself that question. What would somebody share about my business to somebody else? It's a very, very powerful question to ask, and it'll help you with all of your word of mouth marketing. So the second part of this video is where most people fail, right? We talked about some great solutions that you can implement today, but now let's talk about where most people fail. 1, they don't ask. I hear it all the time. I'll talk to business owners, man, I don't get any referrals. And I just ask them a question. Did you ask? Oh, no, I didn't ask for the referral. Well, why would they give you a referral? You didn't ask for it, right? That's like trying to, figure out what a baby wants when it's whining. It could be a million different things. Who really knows, right? Number 2 is they overcomplicate it. They think they need some super complex email automation and funnel to notify them all the time and refer people and send them links in this super complex system, but you don't need that. It's relationships, it's building it, it's simple nudges. And number 3 is they try to scale too soon, right? You can never ask somebody to refer someone without them achieving the end result you want to refer. Think about that. If you signed up today and I immediately asked you to go refer a friend, what would I even say? Even if I was willing, right? Even if I was willing to go share your product and service with somebody, what would I even say? What would I tell them? Oh, I signed up yesterday. I have no clue what they do. So you have to think about it. It has to be strategic when you ask. And what I always do is I ask after they get a result, right? Maybe they just set up a system and it saved them, 5 hours. Oh, I send them a voicemail. I'll call them. Man, that system was awesome. That was so cool. Like, now that you've, saved 5 hours a week, do you know anybody else that would want to save time? They usually know people, but they got a result. And now that's the story they're going to share to that person that's going to be referred. So word of mouth is exponential, right? There's very few things in this world that compound naturally. Money is a good example. If you have it in, index fund, annuity, whatever. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not here to give you those tips, but money compounds and word of mouth compounds. Ads don't compound. You always have to spend money to make money. Word of mouth, you don't spend any money. You put in a lot of work up front. You figure out how to drive a result, how to give them stories. And once you figure it out, you can systematize it. You can make sure that every customer gets the same thing and it results and it compounds. Because the more customers you have, the more people refer, the more people talk about it, so forth and so on. And it'll always grow, right? So another thing I want to make sure you guys get very, very clear is the system, right? The tactical tips. So now you understand some great strategies that you can implement today. You also understand where most people get wrong, and always a solution. If you want to do something that works, do what most people get wrong, the opposite, right? So now the system, the tactical tips. So use delivery as your best marketing tool. I see so many people drop the ball on this, especially in the beginning of owning a business. They think that the business is getting the customer. The business is not acquiring customers. The business is providing a service or a product. So think of your delivery as marketing. Because so many business owners, especially in the beginning, they want to immediately start scaling. They want a ton of customers. They want to make money. So they dump a ton of money in ads when they don't even have a delivery system. They don't know how to fulfill what they promised they'd fulfill. And as soon as you get a bad experience, it compounds the same as a good experience. So if what you said that you were going to deliver didn't deliver, they're going to have a bad story. And that's very, very harmful. So what you need to do is map out your journey. What happens from the moment someone signs up? This is very, very important to do. What happens when the moment they sign up? Where did you send in simple nudges? Did you get them a result? Add a surprise, right? I'm not saying go send everyone blankets and handwritten notes, but add a surprise. Maybe if your service is selling, one thing for $1,000, give them something else. Give them something else of value that they're like, man, this is awesome, right? Build a brag-worthy system. Brag-worthy moments. Because at the end of the day, if you know anything about people, what they do is they talk. And they like talking about what they're doing, who they are, and what is working, right? So make brag-worthy moments. It's very, very clear it's very, very important that you get this crystal clear. Because this is going to grow your business forever. And personally, I'd rather have 10 clients who each bring me 3 more clients than 1,000 cold leads from an ad campaign. Let me say that again. I'd rather have 10 clients that each refer me 3 people than 1,000 new leads from an ad campaign. And here's why. Because if 10 people refer 3, now we're at 30 customers, and I can get the 30 customers to refer 3 and refer 3, it compounds, it grows, and it's exponential. It's so powerful when you start implementing these tools. So a mini story that I want to share is we used to do this where all we did was spend money on ads. We didn't have a great delivery system. We ended up scaling to about $1 million in revenue, but we were spending so much money to acquire a customer. So that's why I always ask, the best marketing strategy, wouldn't it be the one that you spend the least and get the most? But the key is you have to be patient because we've done all the failed attempts, right? We've built complex funnels, we've ran ads, we've spent a lot of money, and we did a crap ton of sales. We did $1 million in revenue in like 90 days, but it wasn't sustainable. The business didn't last longer than like 8 months because people didn't have a good experience. And in the same way that people will go out and share your good stories, they will definitely share bad stories. So you want to make sure that every client that you get is very, very important. And a quick little history quip just to help this all come together. When Julius Caesar became emperor of Rome, right? One of the first emperors. He used handwritten notes as propaganda to build goodwill for him being emperor. And think about it. He just like conquered one of the greatest empires in history. He turned it from a senate into an empire, right? He was the emperor. So he handwrit notes and sent it all across his empire to all his constituents to build goodwill. And the result, people loved Julius Caesar. He's gone down as probably one of the greatest emperors of Rome, maybe besides Marcus Aurelius. But if you think about what he did to do that, it was word of mouth marketing. He wanted to send a letter to someone who told another person, the emperor of Rome just sent me this letter. Read it, share it. Then very quickly, he became very recognizable and he became very, very powerful. So closing insights, make sure to start thinking through this in your business. I guarantee you that if you start utilizing this, it's not going to be instant. It's not going to be super fast. You're not going to make money overnight, but you will have long-term success. And that's what we all want as business owners, long-term success and growth where you can actually build a business that lasts for a long time. So if you enjoyed this content and want to see more, definitely subscribe, hit the bell notification, make sure to stay updated for any new videos. We're going to be talking about a lot of great things, and make sure to drop a comment. Drop a comment. Drop a comment for your most valuable insight that you got for this video, because there's so many value bombs that I just dropped that most people would charge you 10 grand for. And as always, I am not here to sell you a course. I'm not here to sell you some $20,000 mastermind. I'm just here to share what works for what I do and how I've done it. So drop a comment, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and we'll see you in the next video.